Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special Priestess transmission. I'm so delighted to be here with you today on St. Brigid's Day in bulk. And I'm here with my beautiful fellow priestess and my beautiful soul sister, Zoë Daly, who is joining us all the way from Dublin, Ireland. So perfect. So thank you, everyone. And I would love to see who's here. Roxana, thank you. Diane. And if you're new to this offering, I'm here every week, every Wednesday. It's really a place of community, a place to remember your divine mission and to connect with your priestess path. Whether you use that word priestess, whether you're comfortable with that word or not, I know some of you in the beginning weren't, and now you've heard me say it enough times that you're like, yeah, I'm a priestess, but you don't have to call yourself that. It's really that you're here on a path of leading and through unconditional love, of beaming and sharing unconditional love with the world, because that is the most powerful energy, the most powerful vibration. And so today, the specific theme is activating your priestess gifts. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about what does that mean and why is that important? And why do so many fears come up connected to our priestess path, particularly sharing our gifts? So I'm going to welcome Zoë to share a little bit about herself, and then we're going to just jump right in as we're doing. So Zoë, welcome. Please share a little bit about what you do and yeah.
Well, thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me again. It's such a pleasure to be here. And yeah, we've been on this path now together for quite some time, meeting on the Sophia Code journey and Sophia Circle Leader journey. And then you coming to Ireland quite recently, and us kind of really feeling and discovering how much the Celtic goddesses are a part of this as well, especially Brigid. So we're celebrating Brigid today. My background is I have a business called Eru, who is another Celtic sovereignty goddess, colleague of Brigid's, and we make beautiful knitted, handmade blankets from Irish wool, where we're reclaiming ancient traditions and bringing them into the everyday. So it's similar to reclaiming these ancient traditions of the priestess path, and they kind of weave together nicely. So today is Brigid's Day, and actually for the first time in our history, Ireland has made it a public bank holiday to celebrate Brigid. So the holiday is actually going to be celebrated on the bank holiday will happen on Monday, but today is Brigid's holiday. So it's a huge deal for it's like a historic event for Brigid to be recognized in this way as an equal to St. Patrick, if you want to put it like that, because she has a deep reverence in our country and globally. She reaches the hearts of many. So for her to be formally recognized in terms of a bank holiday, she was sharing with me that that's really humanity's heart's desire, bringing into manifestation our desire to reconnect with these divine feminine qualities that have been, kind of suppressed and forgotten. So yeah, happy Brigid's Day. And one thing I have to say before I forget is this is the famous Brigid's cross. And this, my daughter actually made this last night at a ceremony that they had locally. And she went and she did a meditation and they made crosses and they had hot chocolate. So I thought that was so lovely. It's such a special thing. And I know you bought one when you were in Ireland.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, Zoë. And yes, I'm glad you remembered to show us that because that's so beautiful. And I love that your daughter, Sophia, created it. It's so lovely. And I just was, talking to Zoë as we were preparing for this, how powerful it is that this year, Brigid is recognized in this major way. It does feel Like it's a validation of all the work that we're all doing, all of you here watching the replay or watching or here live. It is the awakening, right, of the priestess. Because if you didn't watch us, we were together. We did one together. I think it was November, last November. It was Guadalupe and Brigid together. And in that transmission, we shared how Brigid really is, as many ascended masters are, and she has a specific role as a mentor to us on the priestess path, right? So the fact that she's being given this reverence really, to me, indicates this rising up of the priestesses, whether people are conscious of it or not. So let's talk about the priestess gifts. And I shared recently, I think it was a blog yesterday, how sharing your gifts, sharing your priestess gifts is what keeps you safe. Hey, Teresa. I know Teresa's been in Ireland too, I believe. So, again, let me repeat that. Sharing your priestess gifts is what keeps you safe. And when I was writing that and tuning into that, and, Zoe and I were discussing that, it was like, well, why is that, right? Because what's interesting about that is, as I've been on this path, as I coach my clients and my students, I recognize how much fear comes up about sharing our gifts, our priestess gifts, calling ourselves a priestess or a healer or a shaman or an earth angel, whatever word you're going to use. There's so much fear that comes in this journey that can be here, so much self-doubt, so much self-berating, right? In another transmission, I talked about all those beliefs that we can have in our mind, like I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough, or I don't know enough, all the things. So how is it that that paradox can be true, that we can feel so much fear, and I still feel it. I mean, there's certain things that don't make me nervous about it anymore, but there's other things we're always asked to up level that still bring up those fears, right? That still bring up, like, oh my gosh, this almost unconscious and irrational, it can feel like fear. And I know Zoe shared some of that, some of her, and I'll ask her to share today as well. But how is it that if we feel so much fear, that a beautiful divine guide like Brigid can tell us, but that's what keeps you safe? And just like Mother Mary recently told me, loving is keeping your heart open is what keeps you safe. So as I tuned in, what I really heard is that when you're truly sharing your priestess gifts, first of all, what needs to happen? You're sharing them from a place of love. You're sharing them to be of service, not from an ego place. That can happen as well, but that's not what we're talking about here. When you're doing that, the only way to do that is to be in full alignment with your soul, your higher self, with the divine. And so think about that. In that moment, we are woven, we are united, we are aligned with the truth of who we are. And that is the safest place to be, where it is the most divine protection. So that is what that means. And yet it requires courage, because there is this leap of faith to take, right? There is this leap of faith. When I first did my first Facebook lives, right? And I know that can feel like a mundane example, but it brought up so much fear, right? Or my YouTube lives. And so I had to cross that bridge, and Brigid is such a bridge, right? I had to go through that bridge of the fear to then be in that place to share the gifts. And then as I shared my gift, I was blessed and I was healed. And there was fear that was purged out of my body because of that experience. And so I'm going to hand it over to Zoe to just kind of share whatever you're guided to share in this moment, Zoe, about that. And as everyone is listening, I want you to think about how am I being guided to share my priestess gifts? And where am I holding back because of fear? And so we're going to go to you, Zoe.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a constant process, of expanding fear and then, hopefully expanding through that anyway. And like you say, purging that fear or learning from that fear. Um, you know, I, I launched a YouTube channel there, was it 2 months ago? And oh my God, like it was like dying, like definitely parts of me were dying. And every time I do something, and I did some offerings there from Brigid, it's so much comes up, like it's so much fear, even shame, voices, the inner punisher, like really sweating, like some of that does feel irrational, some of that is totally rational because it's directly linked to past life trauma. Um, so it's really just learn for me learning that this is okay, that it keeps coming up at every step I take. It comes up in different ways and forms, and it doesn't mean that I haven't healed it. It's just another layer. Because sometimes I'd beat myself up again, going, "Did I not just heal this from the last time I stepped forward?" I'm like, "No, it's the same again." So it's like it's just being okay that it's a process. And I think, as you say, like every time you do step out, there is that more, we're building that muscle, I suppose. And you, a big thing you realize, when I had such fear at the beginning, I was like, I was protected. Whatever that protection meant to me, it really was true. So that gave me confidence. And I think that is the paradox we were talking about, but it is, it is true. So it takes us, a thing that always helps me is that, the point is we are sharing these gifts out of service. That's our true intention, and when I remind myself that these gifts or whatever we're sharing, it doesn't come from the me, the ego me. It's coming from your divinity or source or whatever way, then you're like, oh, it's kind of a relief. It's like, it's not me anyway, you know? So it's like, okay, well, then I can find it easier to show up and almost serve through me. So, and therefore, that same source that is wanting to go, speak through me or to, display a gift through me is the same source that's protecting me. So it kind of unifies. Um, somehow.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And there was so much that you said that was, I think, I resonated with and speaks to all of us. And one is that it's an ongoing process, right? It's like it's an ongoing process. It isn't over ever, really. Well, once we ascend, I think we would be done with those initiations. But as you were talking, Zoe, I was just really, I was really feeling this question, and maybe some of you who are watching or watching the replay are feeling this of, well, what are my gifts, right? What are my priestess gifts? And how tripped up we can get around that, because I know that it can be like, well, okay, I'll share them, but what are they? Or some of you might be feeling, well, I'm already sharing them, which of course, if you're here, you are. But what was coming to me as you were talking, Zoe, it was like, oh, because I was asking Brigid, I was listening and also feeling Brigid's presence and really asking, how do we simplify? How do we come to the essence of this teaching today? And what I was hearing, I was like, oh, part of what our gifts are, yes, there's gifts of, there's psychic gifts. That's usually what people think about, right? Like clairvoyance, clairaudience, being able to see people's auras or being able to, clear people's energy. And all those are beautiful and important, and all of that. Even like, going to past lives, those are all absolutely useful. I'm not dismissing them. But it's even more simple and more profound than that. And it's kind of the process that Zoe was talking about. It's like, as a priestess, one of the number one things that we can do is that we can transmit, right? We can transmit not only, and I don't say only because unconditional love is the everything, but there's flavors of it. So think about the power of you being able to transmit peace, right? Transmit faith, transmit courage, transmit trust, transmit commitment, right? Transmit, you know, discipline, divine discipline, not discipline from the wounded masculine, but discipline as in disciple of the soul, right? That, oh, I'm going to be a student of my soul. So that's, as I'm saying this, I'm realizing that's what, Brigid, when she walked the earth, did. That's what Mother Mary did. It's not, so it goes beyond the words you speak, the things you do. It's like that because we have taken that journey of going through the fear and doing it anyway, and then realizing I am protected. Oh my gosh, I did receive the blessing as I was doing this. Because we've done that, we start to create so much space and so much resonance within us that we literally can shift the frequency and transmit those qualities to make it easier for others to find it within themselves. Like that's so powerful. Like that is way more powerful than being able to look at people's auras or see their guides or all of that. Because think about humanity and the needs that humanity has, for you to be able to step and I think this is incredibly important because a lot, I know Zoe and I are both highly sensitive, very sensitive. A lot of my clients and students, a lot of you, I'm sure, are very sensitive. And it's one of the things, one of the struggles often is like, well, how do I serve the world? Like, if I go into a place and it's really stressful or heavy, then I take it all on and then I feel terrible, right? It's like we're sponges. And yet what this path is about not being affected by the world in that way, but actually affecting the world, right? Actually being, as one of my teachers says, the first domino, right? Being the beacon, being the tuning fork, right? That we get to step in without being forceful, without going into any sort of evangelizing, unless it's people that want it, right? Unless it's people that are coming to you, that our energy field is that powerful and that strong, we're that impactful, that we can start to shift other people, not from a manipulative way, but from this place of like, they it's like what happens with a crystal bowl, right? We hear the crystal bowl vibrating and our vibration raises up, right? We release. So we become literally like a walking crystal bowl, I guess is what I'm saying. So that's part of what I want you to think about, everyone here, is like, well, what am I being guided to transmit? What quality have you perhaps struggled with a lot, right? That it's been like, oh my gosh, I've had to like practice this over and over and over. And now I can really share that. Now I'm realizing, wait, maybe that was all because it was part of my training and I get to now radiate it to the world. So I really would love to hear in the chat if there's anything that's coming to you. And of course, when we do the meditation, that will come clearer as well. But I want to hand it over to you, Zoe, and to see what do you want to add or what comes to you as you hear that.
Yeah, well, I think it's like, I love what you said at the very beginning. It's about, the priestess path. And, I think that can seem so glamorous or hard to reach when you think about priestess and gifts and like all these amazing like miracles or things that they do, which I know that they do and they did, and we all have that capacity in different ways. But really, it's about the path of unconditional love. And that's a practice and that's an inner work. So really, like you say, to be able to be in a space that's making a difference to people is to be an embodiment of unconditional love. And that's not about going out performing a gift, even though that can be part of it, or performing a skill. That's like a really courageous inner journey, willingness to do the work, which isn't glamorous or doesn't get seen by people. It involves many dark nights of the soul and horrible crap that you have to sit through on your own, often in the dark of night. But sometimes I forget as well. I love the way you brought it back. Like, and I know people like this that may not even be familiar with any work or terminology even, but I actually embody unconditional love as an energy. And the effect those people have around them, that's just, that gift is so powerful to just to know that that is more than enough of a gift
Yeah.
as a practice.
Yeah.
That's what's coming to me.
Yeah. Thank you, Zoe, for that. And I love how you're bringing up that so much of sharing our gifts happens behind the
Mm,
doors, right? It happens, in the middle of the night when I wake up with anxiety, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I getting myself into? Did I really say yes to that opportunity? I'm freaking out. I'm scared. All of the things. And the inner work at that moment, right? And sometimes it's just mantras and Hail Marys at first, just because that speaks to me. But it is me, the practice of loving myself, right? The practice of uncovering those beliefs that are holding me back, the practice of having my own back, like all the things exactly that nobody sees are what then allow those gifts that are the glamorous ones, the sexy ones, the whatever ones,
mm,
that's what happens. I mean, Jesus, I keep talking about him walking on water. I know some of you were in my retreat, but Jesus did a lot of glamorous
mm,
demonstrations because that's what needed to happen in his life. But that was the easy part. The part that let him do that was all the inner work that he did. Same thing with Mother Mary, having an immaculate conception, right? And I'm not talking about the weird Catholic version of that. I won't go into all the details, but we know that was like a yogic power to be able to weave a soul in an immaculate way. And so
mm,
that can feel like very glamorous and amazing and mind-boggling. I mean, it is, but what allowed her to do that? It was all the inner work, right? It was all the yes, loving the world, but loving herself. That is the hardest thing, right? Everyone here, like we know that. Like we can, you know, radiating love to others. I mean, that is a courageous, noble mission.
mm,
But doing that for ourselves, in
mm.
the retreat I led on Friday, was really talking about like that's the most powerful priestess tool is being able to bear compassionate witness to ourselves. It's the
Yeah.
hardest thing. It's the hardest thing to like, it's the thing that stretches us the most, that opens us the most, that infuses all and I love how Zoe used the word skills, all the skill sets that we have, right? With the power to create miracles. So when Zoe, created these blankets, I have one right here. Yes, that was a skill set. There was things she had to do in the earth plane and all of the things, and it's a lot of work, right? All of that. But it's the inner work that she's done, that her partner has done, that has woven this like amazing energy into these blankets, right? It's the same for me for the things that I do. And it's the same for all of you. And so that's the place to be with. It's like, can I, and the word humble is coming right now, and not from the ego's version of that, right? Not the false humility, but can we humble ourselves in this way of understanding that the divine wouldn't have given some people more gifts than others? That is just craziness, right? It doesn't make any sense. If you believe that divine spirit, God, creator, creatrix is unconditionally loving, which is what we're saying, right? That we believe, then the divine wouldn't have been like, okay, I'm going to give her more gifts and him more gifts, and she's going to be special, but she's going to be less special. That's just our ego. We all have been gifted in an equally powerful way. And but within that, of course, there's different signatures, there's different colors, there's different flavors. And I said this, I wrote this recently. It's the beauty and the humbling aspect of that is that all of you here live, all of you watching the replay, if you don't share those gifts, if you do not commit to it in this lifetime, it's not that, oh, God's gonna not love you now. None of that. But it's that the world doesn't receive your gift. Our gifts are ours to give. And there are times when I know what my gift is, and I have a part that's kind of throwing a tantrum, and it's like, I don't want to share that gift. It's like, I don't, but then it's like, no, that's my gift to give. And when I give that gift, oh my gosh, I end up getting it back, a thousandfold. And so that is really important. If you have any like, well, they're gifted, but I'm not, or I'm not ready yet, or oh, like, but they're doing this, and look at me, I'm still at home, mothering my children. Please know that's not coming from your soul. That's not coming from Brigid. That's not coming from the divine. Wherever you are in this moment, however many clients or students, however many followers or non-followers or whatever you have, that is where you are being guided to share your priestess gifts now. Like that's not later when all the other things get settled. It's now in this moment, because it's always been, but now the need of humanity is so great that we just don't have that luxury to be like, okay, next year. It's like it's now. And so I am feeling Brigid's fire energy. Ooh, is this little Jazzy? And Jazzy's feeling it too. Do you need to go get her?
I'm
Zoe?
just going to get her and bring her back. I'm really sorry
Absolutely. No
about
worries.
this.
We're
Okay.
going to have the baby energy here.
She
So,
clearly wants to be part of it.
yes, I had a feeling she's quite a star. So, the Summer is saying, I love the phrase different flavors. Thank you, Summer. And so that is the question, right? Like, what is your flavor? And I want to say something that's coming up really strongly right now is sometimes we can hear this message and go into our codependent rescuer mode. Or that can start to come up and we get scared, like, oh gosh, I already do so much. I already give so much. This is saying I have to give more. And then there's this fear. This is not what we're talking about. In fact, if you're in a place in your life where you feel like there are so many people sucking from my energy, I can't possibly give more, then your healing journey right now, the gifts you're giving the world right now is the courageous journey of learning to set really beautiful boundaries with others. Right. And that's a gift that a lot of priestesses need. It's a gift, a skill I've been developing for a long time. So please do not mishear this as this is a call to go rescue a bunch of people. We're not here to rescue anyone. We're not the priestess path is not a path of rescuing others. It is a path of mirroring others' divinity back to them, right? Of reminding everyone, like, oh, you've got your own rescuer within you. And if we have a part that doubts that, that's on us. If we have a part that's like, oh, I need to control it, that's on us. And that's okay because we're human and we have that. But then it's our job to ask Brigid, ask Mother Mary, ask the Ascended Masters, do the inner work so that we can let that control go and really step into our leadership. So I really wanted to say that. And so, Zoe, I'll just have you share something and then I want to go into the meditation. But if there's anything that you want to share, please let me know.
Yeah, no, I think just the theme of today, about Brigid activating our gifts, like what's just coming to me with this conversation, and she's obviously bringing this as a message, is really, it's our self-compassion and our self-love. And like you were just talking about there, being able to hold that boundary and, hold your sovereignty in that is what it is the activation. It's because our fears would deactivate, and freeze us. So, even, thinking about this and Brigid activating our gifts with her flame, which she is, but I feel like the message is she's really encouraging our inner flame of self-compassion, because it's a mirroring back to us of that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not someone doing it for us either. It's not her doing it for us. It's her mirroring that powerful self-compassion and self-love, that unconditional love towards ourselves that activates them. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes, totally, Zoe. And it's like she's mirroring for us what we do for humanity, right? What we're calling to do. So it's not that Brigid is coming in to
Mm.
sprinkle us with priestess gifts, right? As lovely as that may sound. she's, as Zoe was saying, she's holding a mirror, but she also brings a very pristine frequency, right? That's why we mentor with the Ascended Masters, right? They've completed their initiations, right? So she's this like, just like all the masters, Ascended Masters, she has this pristine vibration and frequency. And so she can help us access that compassion in an easier way, in a more powerful way. That's what she does for us. And that's what she's showing us we can do for others. That it's not, we can't get into codependency with Brigid. She's not going to come rescue us, right? She's not interested in that. She's like, you're a sovereignty goddess yourself, right? Like you're a priestess, right? But she can hold that flame and that vibration to awaken that within us. And
Mhm.
Deborah's saying, beautiful gift to have sweet innocence joining our circle. I totally agree. And she did it last time too. She was like, I must be there.
I
So I had a
know.
feeling, Zoe. I knew, I was like, I really feel Jazzy's going to join us. So thank
You
you.
know, I suppose, and Bridget is, you know, associated with children, with babies, with childbirth. And one thing I was going to say, this time of year, this Celtic festival called Imbolc, it literally means in the belly. So it's a time of when, you know, the sheep are pregnant with the lambs, that it's a time of conception, fertility, but also bringing into manifestation, you know, what's in our belly or our hearts, our gifts, you know, bringing them into manifestation. So yeah, the baby and the children want to be here as well. So
Literally, the
thanks
baby
for
is there.
making me feel okay about it.
Oh, absolutely, Zoe. I mean, that's a healing in and of itself, right? It's like that we're wherever, I had just said that, right? Wherever you are is exactly where you're meant to be. I mean, and Zoe could have been like, there's no way I can't join this transmission because Jazzy might wake up and you know, all the things, but it's like, no, this is what's in, you know, she, her soul said yes, and she's agreed to that yes. And that's what this is about. And I love that you shared with Imbolc, you know, in the belly. I love that because we're gonna go enter, you know, the womb of the Divine Mother just now to receive that activation, right? To be in the presence of a pristine vibration, to awaken within us what is already there. And then to remember that we do that then for others. But we only do it when it comes from a place of total unattached service, right? Not rescuing, not expecting whatever, you know, all the things our ego trips us up on. And we all go through that. So I'm not saying I never feel those things. Of course I do. We have a human brain, right? But again, we're on the priestess path. So we're committing to come back to love, right? To come back to our own innocence that, you know, beautiful Jazzy's, you know, embodying for us right now, right? Reminding us of that beautiful innocence within us. So let's go ahead and step into this meditative space. And I'm going to use one of your blankets here. And I do want to say, if you didn't take advantage of this last time, there is a, you know, Zoe is sharing a generous coupon code for her blankets, and I'll be sharing that with you. But I'm going to have it right now wrapped around me. Feels perfect. Oh, there she is. Beautiful Jasmine Rose. So just allow yourself to settle into this beautiful space. Whether you're here live or you're watching the replay, know that it is perfect. And I invite you to close your eyes if that's possible. And take some cleansing breaths. And just letting yourself settle into your heart. And Zoe, at any moment, if you feel like you need to silent, you know, mute your thing, if you have to put it on, you know, feel free to do that. Okay, so you don't feel like you've got to stay stuck there. And so we welcome the beautiful higher self to be here. We welcome your beautiful priestess energy to be here. And I invite you to connect with your roots for a moment. Visualize those roots of light going down your legs and out the bottoms of your feet, deep, deep into the earth. And so we're going to be very connected to the earth even as we travel throughout this beautiful frequency of love. And so then bringing your awareness to your beautiful heart. And if you need to bring the palms of your hands over your heart center, please feel free to do so. And at your heart, I invite you to visualize a beautiful purple flame, a violet flame, a purple flame. And notice perhaps your flame has different colors in it. And as you're noticing it with curiosity, with love, you start to notice that this flame starts to grow. The warmth of this flame starts to fill your heart, your shoulders. It starts to fill your whole body, this beautiful warmth inside. And it goes deep, deep, deep into your cells so that every cell in your body is being illuminated from within by this beautiful purple flame. And this purple flame represents your unique, your powerful, your tender, loving gifts, your priestess gifts. And if your mind starts to try to analyze or figure things out, just send your mind compassion and just come back to the simplicity of this flame, this beautiful purple flame that is in each of your cells. And just allow yourself to breathe in and out and just be present with these flames that are within you. Not needing to understand, not needing to analyze. We're all just here together like beacons, learning how to allow more of our light to shine through. And so as that happens, the flames in each of your cells, the flame in your heart, these beautiful purple flames, you start to notice that you're standing on this beautiful golden path. You're standing there illuminated from within. And as you look at this golden path that you're standing on, you start to notice a beautiful figure approaching you. And at first, you cannot see her features. You're just aware of this woman getting closer. And even before you see her, you can feel her love, her power, her gentleness, her ferocity, her joy. You feel all of this, her courage. And she gets closer and closer. And you recognize that it is beautiful, beloved Brigid. And in this moment, whether you have connected with her countless of times before, or whether this is your first time doing so, please know whatever it is perfect. She is coming closer to you, and she is here in this moment with this beautiful red golden hair and this beautiful green, emerald green dress with her beautiful priestess cape. Some of you have activated this priestess cape before, so you might feel it suddenly appear around you. And as she gets closer, you notice that she is holding in her hands, she has her hands in front of her, and she's holding this purple flame. And she walks close to you. She stands before you now. And just let yourself take in her vibration, her pristine, loving energy. And as she stands there with this flame, your inner flames, start to radiate and get stronger. They start to grow and expand. And as that happens, she asks you to look into her purple flame. And it's almost like a beautiful crystal ball, except it is a flame. And she's showing you, she's asking you to look into it, that it is a beautiful flame mirror that is going to mirror back to you what priestess gift is being activated in you now. It might be one, it might be two, it might be many. You might see words, you might see symbols, you might see colors. But look in there and show and be shown, say, I'm willing to see what priestess gifts are being activated within me now. And just receive that. And as you receive it, all of that knowing is being infused into your heart. So if you don't hear anything, it's okay. It is all being infused into your heart. But I'm going to be silent for a few moments as you take that in. And just notice, what are the gifts that are being activated in you now? And in your heart, declare, if this is true, I am willing, I am open to receive these gifts. I am willing and open to receive these gifts. There they are coming within your heart. They're spiraling in like a kaleidoscope of colors into your heart, into all of your cells. These are gifts that are already within you. They are just being mirrored back to you. Some of these you are aware of and they're being amplified. Some of these you have dismissed. I'm hearing. Some of these you've been like, oh, this is not a gift. But this is a gift. You're seeing that. You will see that now, your divine gift. Some of these you've been persecuted and hurt for in this and other lifetimes. But this is the lifetime where it is safe. This is the lifetime where the way to serve humanity is to shine with your gifts embodied. There were other lifetimes where that wasn't the case, where we served in a different way. But this is the lifetime where you are meant to thrive as a priestess sharing her gifts. And so, as you receive all of that, your own beautiful higher self, your soul stands behind you, and she shines this radiant light over the crown of your head down through your body to integrate this activation across all four levels of your being: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, across all dimensions of time, across all parallel lifetimes, across all lifetimes. And so let that happen. Trust that your higher self knows, right? Your higher self knows exactly how to do that. It's doing it now. And feel the earth underneath you. Come back into your heart as beautiful Brigid smiles her radiant smile. Reminds you that she is here with you always, for you, with you always, if you choose that for your path. And so take some nice cleansing breaths. Feel the earth underneath you. And when you feel ready, I invite you to gently open your eyes. And if you want to write down anything, write it down in your journal. And if you want to share anything, please share it in the chat. I'm going to have to run to get my outlet because I've never done this before, but it literally is like, it's about to run out of batteries, but it's going to be okay. So Zoe will, will just kind of be here. So I invite everyone, take this moment and just really tune in to whatever came and share it in the chat if you're open to doing that. I'll bring my plug in and then we'll close. I know it has gone long, but it's a special day. It's in bulk. It's St. Brigid's Day. That's how it is. All right. So I'm going to silence I think I can silence. Actually, I don't know how to do that on here. I don't see the silence button. So Zoe,
Yes.
you are the hostess right now. Thank you.
That's great. I'm just feeding my baby here, and she's actually being quiet, which is amazing. She's kind of gone back to sleep, I think, while we were doing that meditation, which is a gift. I was being reminded in that meditation that Brigid was reminding me that our gifts are sometimes the things that we do well that we don't even realize that they're a gift because they're just things that come naturally to us. So we don't classify them as gifts. And she was reminding us that to honor that those really are gifts. It could be like, listening to people really well, or creating beauty around us, creating beautiful flowers or beautiful home settings. And that's just something we do naturally, that's actually a gift. I was just saying, Lisa, that sometimes, where Brigid was saying that sometimes our gifts are the things that we do well already, so we don't know that they're a gift.
Yes.
And then Mary was sharing there that she no longer needs to be independent. That's a gift.
Yes. Thank you, Mary, for that. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to go get my outlet. So I don't need help from anyone. All I need is myself. Yes, I don't need to be codependent. Thank you, Mary. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that message. That's such a Brigid message, right? It's like you are complete unto yourself. And what's interesting about that is that when we release codependency, when we heal it, because we all have it, we actually can step into unity consciousness. Isn't that like amazing? It's like as we set the boundaries, as we realize I don't need anyone else, then our heart opens to unconditional love and being able to connect with others in a deeper way. So thank you so much, everyone. The temperature in here is like I'm hot, I'm cold. I'm like, gosh, we're fighting. Like I was sweating and then I was freezing. Like I felt so much energy. I would love to hear if there's anyone else that wants to share what came to you during the, it was really interesting when the flame went into her heart and she was, I wanted to keep going, like, okay, let's go down a path. Let's do it. And then she was like, no, slow it down. Like really take in that flame in each of your cells. And I want to offer everyone that as a practice, because there was something about being able to hold that light, like hold that light, hold that steadiness. Like, yes, that's a practice because that amplifies our ability to do that, right? And be that flame for others. Yes, thank you, Deborah. Absolutely letting go of rescuing. So I want to pull a card, and I know we've been here. Well, thank you everyone so much. I do want to remind you that I'm here every Wednesday, and usually they're shorter than this, but Wednesday at 2:30. Today was a special day, and Zoe was so gracious to be here with us as well, and just really bring in these teachings, from Brigid and from this sacred day. And I also want to remind you that I'm offering a 1-year coaching mentoring program. It's amazing. What can I say? Like, really, I called it my irresistible 1-year coaching program. I don't know if some of you have been listening, that my word for the year was irresistible. Mother Mary gave me that word, and I was like, irresistible? What is that going to be about? And it's becoming more and more clear. But if you're interested in that, message me. I would love to have a conversation with you about it. I am is exactly what is needed. Thank you. Compassion for myself and others. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to pull a card. And I'm just going to be for the whole group. And I'm asking what gift, I know you got your own answers and trust those. Now we're going to do like a oracle, like what gift is being activated in all of us today? No, what gift has been activated in all of us today? And that's you who are here live and you who watch the replay whenever you watch it. Okay, so let's shuffle. This is from the Priestess of the Light Oracle, and then we will close. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, the gift that was activated for all of us is harvest, gathering of blessings. I mean, that's amazing, because I know there's others. There's like, oh, there's a lot of really cool cards in this deck, but we've been activated in the gift of being able to gather the blessings, right? To be in harvest and be the harvest for others as well. That's like a huge, I mean, that's the opposite of feeling like a persecuted priestess, right? So many of us have felt lack, have felt doubt, have felt like, scarcity in money or all sorts of areas. So that's so beautiful. All right, take that in, everyone. Harvest. We've been activated in the priestess gift of harvest, gathering of blessings. I'm going to be, yes, and that is number 44, Mary. Yes, thank you for noticing that. 4 and she's holding the corn. That's so like Mexico to me. I feel like this is Guadalupe coming in as well. Like,
and Brigid, because she's with the
right.
land. Yeah.
Yeah, so beautiful. So there we go. Our priestess gift of harvest. So if you're like, I don't know what my priestess gift is, now you know what one of them is. You're like, I have the priestess gift of harvest. I can help you gather your blessings, and as I gather my countless blessings. Right. So thank you, everyone. This was so great. Love you all so much. Thank you, those of you who are watching the replay. If you're not signed up for my mailing list, please do so. Oh, and I will put Zoe's link to her YouTube channel in the description. And I will also send the coupon code for the blankets in my newsletter. So if you want to receive that coupon code and you like today's teachings and you're not on my mailing list, sign up. I'll put that link on there as well. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great rest of your
Thank you, Mary.
day.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Lisa, for having me.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Thank you. And thank you, Jazzy. Okay, I'm going to end the broadcast.